Units with the ability to freeze are among my favorites in this game. Unfortunately, this type of strategy can be a bit difficult to execute because there aren't many units with this ability, and the few that existed didn't cover enough of the necessary areas. Luckily, thanks to the Retracing Our Steps event, new units have been added that have greatly bolstered this archetype, making it much more viable than before. Something I'm really happy about because it indirectly benefits Frostleaf. But anyway, today we'll be focusing on Snow Hunter. The 5-star unit available in this event's banner is a sniper from the Hunter subclass with the ability to freeze enemies. This subclass stands out for two things: its range and how its basic attacks work. These units use ammunition to attack, which they reload when not attacking. In exchange, their attacks receive a damage boost of up to 120%, making them excellent units for taking out enemies from a safe distance. One thing worth mentioning about these units is their animations. If you pay close attention, you can even hear the sounds of their weapons reloading. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Snow Hunter stands out for its ability to freeze enemies, thanks to her talent, Cloud Drifting Shot, which applies the cold status to enemies. When she activates her skill, if the status is applied twice, the enemy will be frozen for a short period of time. This talent is perfect because it allows us to control which enemy we want to freeze at any specific moment, in addition to benefiting the abilities of other units like Aurora, who deals more damage with her skill to frozen units, something very useful, especially when dealing with bosses who aren't immune to this status. Now let's move on to her abilities. Her first skill, Power Strike. It's very simple. It increases the damage of her next attack. This skill is automatic, though in my opinion it takes a bit to charge, since her subclass doesn't grant her a particularly fast attack speed. Still, it can be useful if you prefer this type of skill, especially since firing this skill guarantees a freeze effect. Now for her second skill, Twin Blizzard Bolts. It's manual, and, similar to the previous one, increases the unit's damage. However, the damage will be even greater against units that cannot move. Starting at level 7, she can store her charges, allowing her to freeze an enemy on her own if necessary. This skill is what allows us to better control when we want to freeze enemies, especially if we are relying on the freeze effect applied by the basic attacks of other units. That said, if your plan is to use this unit for freezing, be careful not to waste the skill on weak units if they are protecting stronger ones. Now let's move on to her module, Hunts of the Past. This module grants her the ability to reload more ammunition when she has used up all her bullets. Starting at level 2, it increases the damage dealt by her talent. Honestly, I would recommend unlocking it only if you plan to use this operator a lot, since she can only take full advantage of her talent against enemies who are frozen. As for her base abilities, she will increase her productivity by depleting morale faster. However, we can pair her with operators who reduce morale consumption to counteract the negative effect and thus extend the time she spends in the factories. Snow Hunter is an operator you'll only get the most out of when you make use of freezing effects. The good news is that she has no trouble doing this on her own. But of course, if you use her alongside other operators capable of freezing enemies, you can take even greater advantage of her increased damage. If you're someone like me who enjoys this kind of strategy, then you'll have a lot of fun using this operator on your team. But if you're someone who doesn't use these strategies much, I wouldn't recommend spending your resources on her. Since she's a very niche operator, I'd suggest you think it through carefully before using her. Well, that wraps up the Snow Hunter guide. I hope it's helped you better understand how this operator works and whether she's a good fit for your playstyle. I apologize for the lack of inactivity over the past few months. I've been a bit busy in real life, but I hope to gradually start posting content regularly again. Thanks for your patience and see you next time.